Hey, g'day guys, it's Adam from VideoShowMeHow, and in this video we're doing another review, another fridge review, this time of the Brass Monkey 35 litre fridge freezer. Let's get started. So I've been testing this one over the last couple of weeks, and the main sort of reasoning behind teeing one of these guys up was I wanted something a little bit more portable, a little bit more sort of day trip friendly. I wanted something that would fit in the back here, a fair bit smaller, something that I could take away, something that I could be a bit more portable for sort of day trips and that kind of thing. So first up, size-wise, there are three different versions of this guy. There's a 35, a 45, and a 55, this same sort of style, and they obviously changed dimensionally as well. So that was important to me. I needed something that would fit under the roller cover as well, and this one definitely does. So 441 tall, we are then 600 long or 711 to our pull-out handle that lives off to the side here. Internally, you have two full sections, and they can be a fridge freezer depending on what you want to choose, and then obviously 35 litres in total between both of those. Now, power consumption wise, I have had this guy on for about the last sort of 10-15 minutes, so coming down in temp nicely. You can see at full tilt, there we go, we're drawing about the 4.7 amps. I have seen this get up to about the 75 watts, so at the moment it looks like drawing about 60. It is saying that the average draw is about that 60 watts. The most I've seen at full startup is about that 75 watt or about that 5 and a bit amps. So features wise, now there's probably a bit to unpack here. This is a good value fridge. It is a cheaper fridge. I think this ran at about the $400 mark. They are pretty damn good value. Even the big suckers of these are well under the $1,000 mark. So as far as construction goes, like I said, I have had this guy out and about on a bunch of different day trips now over the last couple of weeks, and it is pretty sturdy. There is no metal to be found. It is all full plastic and sort of that polypropylene type construction. It is pretty sturdy. The handle construction, it is all plastic handles and what have you, so these are probably sufficient there as well. Pretty cool in the fact you've got some wheels on this little bad boy, so you can wheel the guy around, I guess, in the old picnic scenario and what have you. And you've got this kind of thing too, which I reckon is pretty cool. And that is a pull-out handle, so you can do the old walking around with luggage in the airport type deal, wheeling this guy to said picnic location. So I reckon that is pretty unique and pretty cool. This in here is pretty dang cool, and if we open this up, in there you put a lithium battery. That is pretty awesome. You could have this guy running all day potentially on itself, not even having it plugged into sort of a dual battery or anything like that, just running on its own power. What I reckon is also even cooler, that is a solar input. You've got one of those portable solar blankets or something to that effect, get their little adapter, plug it in there, and boom, it charges your lithium battery, which runs your fridge. So now if we delve a little deeper into this guy and open him up, first up with the lid, it's a nice solid lid in that PPE, that polypropylene type lid. Again, hinge wise, there kind of isn't any, because the lid can totally be removed. You've got these little nodule little thingies on the side. Once again, all plastic, but it is super sturdy. And the cool thing about that is you can reverse the lid without too much drama. Let's see if we can do it one-handed here. There we go. And boom, you've got this same sort of handle job clip scenario on both sides of this sucker. So that in itself, I reckon, is pretty cool. So you've got plenty of options there. You'll notice that you have the world's smallest chopping board, and that just lives straight up in there. But hey, I mean, I reckon that's pretty cool, using some dead space. I feel like you could have just whacked another one in, or a slightly bigger one over the top there, but hey, I reckon that is a cool little addition. Haven't seen that a whole lot. And then inside, I'll just chuck some bits and bobs in here to give you an idea of what you can fit in here. We've found this to be the perfect size for that day trip, because you have baskets, so you've got the standard so that you can pull these guys out. That's about the height of the ones in there, fit a whole bunch of cans and what have you. The standard sort of interior that's easy to clean out. LEDs on both sides. Bigger basket in the big side that they call it, which is you know, pretty self-explanatory. A few different beverages in here to give you an idea. Some of the Mrs. Lolly water and what have you, but hey, you get the idea. You can fit a full bottle of wine in there. The 125s was tested as well, as far as, you know, your Coke bottles and what have you, they fit fine. You know, you're not going to probably be fitting oodles and oodles of, you know, weekend or week-long trips or what have you in this, but plenty of options, and there's a good amount of space there for those day or two trips. Now, seals wise, pretty obviously important. Standard sort of rubber seal that's sort of going on here. You can see a little bit of girth there, certainly been sufficient from what I've seen. It just seals around the exterior here, as you can see. And I found that there's a nice positive latching sort of mechanism. You can hear the thing really latch down. And that seems to have been okay. We've had this up in some 30+ degree days, straight up on the beach, full sun, and it hasn't had any dramas keeping ice creams in one side and our drinks cold in the other. And that is one really cool thing to point out. This is a full fridge freezer. And most of the other smaller fridges are normally just that. They're just a single compartment and just a fridge. I think that is really cool. And that's, to be honest, one of the main reasons why I got this big guy for the bigger trips, is because I wanted to have the flex of fridge, freezer, 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 fridge, fridge, that sort of deal, depending on what the trip was. This little guy, I think, is perfect for that, because like I said, on those couple of beach trips, stinking hot day, ice creams in one side down to sort of -10, that sort of deal, and the other side for your sort of your cold drinks and your food. So you've got the options there. Now, from a controls point of view, pretty cool. You've got a bunch of different options. So if we zoom in on this side, and we can take a look at what you get. So we've got a few different options here. Basically, there's a bit of a child lock going on, which is kind of handy. You just press both of these down to unlock, and then we have access to a few different options. We've got our min and max in here, and what that does is tells us whether we want to run in eco mode, as you can see there, or our max mode. The cool thing with this is we have our big zone here, as you can see, and then our smaller zone there. I've been using this guy for freezer, this guy for fridge. To set the temperature, it's a matter of holding down one of the plus or minuses, and it will then allow you to plus or minus. There we go, we can set the temp, little cog, and that will flick us between the smaller zone or the larger zone. And to set it, you just don't touch it, leave it for that 3 seconds, and it will lock in those temps. Now, as well as that, you do have your high, medium, and low battery protection. So to access that, you just hold down the little coggy thing, it will start flashing, and then it's a matter of hitting the little cog and selecting high being maximum battery protection, low being the lowest, so that I think a cutout's about 9 volts or something. So if you're running on a dual battery system or what have you, you can get it down pretty low, especially if it's lithium or something like that. So now, the other thing that is pretty cool with this is the fact that you can turn off one of the zones. You can only turn off one, you can't turn off both. That's kind of turning off the whole fridge, but you can turn off one of the zones. So if you're just up the beach and you just want a tiny little compartment, you can do that. If you want the big compartment, you can do that, and you've got that flex. So to do that one, I'm just got to hold down both of these for about the old 3 second mark. There we go, boom, the big section is turned off, and we just have this little guy running separately and using a whole lot less power, because it's obviously only needing to cool that section. I think that in itself is pretty awesome, because a lot of the bigger brands don't have that functionality, and that's one of the things that Brass Monkey, I think, have really nailed. Other than that, you do have your USB charger here on the side. That's pretty awesome. Most fridges have that kind of deal. And probably the other real cool thing with this is the fact that there's an app for that. There's a Bluetooth app. And this is what this guy looks at. So it's pretty sort of straightforward. It's just a matter of scanning for your fridge. It'll come straight up there like that. I find the app really good, actually. It's fast, and it just connects. And there we go. We can see we have all the functions, and it's pretty straightforward. There you go. It's very fast. Turns on, off, just like that. We can set our temperature settings on the sides here. We can set our voltage up or down. That's our low, medium, or high. And then we can set, you know, Celsius, Fahrenheit for the one country that uses that, and our eco and max modes as well. So pretty cool, you know, from the old pilot seat or what have you, while you're driving along. Easy to check this and make sure everything is still kicking along. So well done, Brass Monkey. Pretty cool, great app. Now, as far as what you get in the box, you do get some instruction manuals. You get a power brick as well as the cable itself. Then as far as the DC cable, you do get a standard plug, just like one of these. They're the same plugs that you'll find on almost all fridges. They're your sort of your Waco, what have you, and a cigarette lighter plug. But I reckon that definitely worth converting that sucker over into an Anderson plug. That way, one of these guys is not going to come out, and you know, you don't have any of that stress of turning up with your fridge warm, which just ask me how I know. And then finally, from a noise perspective, it's a bit of a subjective one, and I know, but I've got one of the spare wireless mics, the same as what I am using right now. I put that bad boy right there and then shut the gob, you can have a bit of a listen. So there you go. I don't know how much of that you're going to hear, but I guess there is a bit of a hum to it. You can definitely hear it when it is cycling and when it is you know, going at full tilt to keep the thing cold. But it's not silent when it's running. But it, you know, by no means is the thing loud or anything like that. I think it's well within the norm of your standard 12-volt fridges. All right, so there's an overview in our pros and cons. Let's start with the pros. My top three, I think, is definitely the size and the fact that they're kind of doing stuff that not many other brands are doing. And I think that is awesome. The fact that, you know, you've got this telescopic handle, you've got some wheels that make the thing really nice and portable. Those couple of things are really cool. I think number two, if you're gonna hold me to three, I think number two would have to be the fact that, I mean, the Bluetooth app is a worthy addition, and I think that's really well done. It actually bloody works. That's pretty cool. But I think number two for me is the fact that you have, in such a small form factor, and even in the 45 or the 55, two distinct sections, not a divider, not anything like that. Two full different sort of baskets, two different sections that you can run as full freezer, both freezer if you wanted, both fridge. You've got that flexibility, and that is pretty rare to find in such a small unit. And number three, I would think, is a bit of a tough one. It's hard to narrow down. There's a lot of positives with this fridge. There's a lot of positives. I think number three has to be the price. You know, we do have things like the lithium battery and the fact you can chuck something like that in. The solar input, that's cool as well. But I think it has to be in there, the fact that you can, this sucker here, certainly in the 35, can be had for around that $400 mark. The fact that this is a full proper fridge freezer for that price, with all the features and benefits or what have you get with it, I think that is pretty cool. Now, top three cons for this guy. I think one would be, you know, the durability. It remains to be seen. Like I said, I've only had this for a number of weeks, only a few trips old. So far, so good. You know, I'm not sure if the fittings themselves are stainless. Probably durability would be the number one, but once again, you know, it's at a price. Number two, I think the controls are a little bit finicky. The way that the thing locks out every time you look at it sideways, a little bit annoying. You know, you're not going to be filming YouTube videos every time you use it, so it's probably going to be less of a deal. And if you had to hold me to a third con, I think it would probably be sort of the power options. I was a little bit disappointed to see that you actually have to have this power brick that runs the whole thing. You know, that's a bit old school. It'd be great if it was just a plug and the power side of things was built into here. I don't know if that's a space thing, because you are soaking up space there with the lithium battery. And that about wraps it up. That is the review of the Brass Monkey 35-litre fridge freezer. So let me know what you think of one of these guys. Would you bust out, would you get one of these as a bit of a day fridge, something that you could use on the day or the overnight trips? So let me know in the comments down below. As always, a big thank you to the members of the Video Show Me How channel. Your extra support means the world, and I truly appreciate it. If you're keen to see more content just like this one, head on over to the channel, of course, and suss out the rest of the detail that's going on. Big build series going on with the D-Max, in case you haven't seen as yet. Lots more stuff coming with that. But other than that, guys, as always, I hope that you have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers, guys.